Hi, this is Mrs. Rodriguez with another lesson video. Today we're looking at ways to change fractions into percents, okay? And today I'm going to show you 3 different ways of doing that. So first, we can look at percent, and remember that percent means out of 100, okay? The word percent means out of 100. So for instance, if I have 60 over 100, and the word percent means out of 100, then that means 60 over 100 is also 60 out of 100, so this would be 60%. Okay? So if you can get a fraction where the 100 is your denominator, the bottom number, then your numerator, the top number, will always be equal to the percent. Okay, now we can use this to change fractions into percent. So let's take a look at an example. Here we have 7 over 20. Well, I know that percent means out of 100. So if I can change or multiply that 20 by some number and it will equal 100, then I know that whatever the top number is will be my percent. So let's give it a try. So I have 7 over 20. I need to multiply 20 by some number to get me the 100. Okay? Well, we can use our giant 1. 20 times 5 gives me 100. So if 20 times 5 gives me 100, remember, whatever you do to the bottom, you have to do to the top. This is a giant 1, okay? So then that means 7 times 5 will be my top number, which is 35. And because we now have 35 out of 100, we know that 35 equals our percent. Okay, so this is a great strategy to use if your denominator, your bottom number, can go into 100 evenly. Because then you just need to figure out what your giant 1 is, right? What number you need to multiply by to get that 100 on the bottom. Multiply by the same number on top. And whatever that top number ends up being, in this case 35, we know that that's going to be what the percent equals. Okay, so that's strategy number 1. But what if your denominator, the bottom number, does not go into 100 easily or evenly? Well, we have this example, 9 over 60. 60 does not go into 100 evenly. So we can use the second strategy, and remember that the fraction bar equals addition. It also means addition, okay? I'm talking about this fraction bar right here. It also means division. So we could divide 9 by 60, get a decimal, and then turn that into a percent. So there's a couple of things we need to remember. We need to remember that 9 is our top dog, and the top dog always goes in the house. Okay? Be very careful. It's not 60 divided by 9, it's 9 divided by 60. Now, 60 does not go into 9. So we're going to have to add a decimal. Now the nice thing is wherever you put the decimal in the problem, you just go straight above, and that's where your decimal is going to be in the answer. I'm going to go ahead and extend my line. All right, now we're ready to add a 0 and continue our division. 60 goes into 90 one time. So 1 times 60 is 60. We subtract, we get 30. Drop another 0. 60 goes into 300 5 times. 5 times 60 is 300. And we get a remainder of 0. So that's how we know we're done. So our answer ends up being equal to 0.15. Okay? Now, you'll remember that if you don't remember, when you have a decimal, you can move that decimal over 2 times to the right, and that gives you the percent. So this ends up being 15%. Okay, so you move decimal to the right 2 times. Okay, and what you're essentially doing is you're multiplying by 100. Okay, we can move that decimal over to the right 2 spaces because what you're actually doing is you're multiplying that decimal 0.15 by 100. Okay, so that's how you turn a fraction whose denominator does not go into 100 evenly. And then you divide the numerator by the denominator, you get your decimal, and you're multiplying by 100 or moving that decimal over to the right 2 times. Now, a lot of people like to just remember moving the decimal to the right 2 times, but you should know why you're doing that, why that works, what you're actually doing mathematically. Okay, so you should know you're actually multiplying by 100 to get that decimal, or to get that percent. Okay, and it should be easy to remember because remember, percent is out of 100, so you would multiply by 100 to get the percent. All right, moving on. The third and final strategy I'm going to show you is using diagrams. Sometimes pictures can really help. So here's my example, 3 out of 10. Or 3/10. Okay, so 3/10 mean that I have 3 out of 10. So I like rectangles, but you can personally draw whatever you like drawing the most. And if I have my rectangle and it's 3 out of 10, that means my rectangle was divided into 10 parts. So I'm going to go ahead and draw in my 10 parts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay? And that 3/10 means that 3 out of the 10 are colored in. Okay? So that's 3 out of 10. All I did was take the fraction and turn it into a diagram. Now, once I have my diagram, I know that if none of the boxes are colored in, 0 of the boxes are colored in, that's 0%. I also know that if all of the boxes are colored in, or all of the squares, that would be 100%. So if I have 10 squares, and if I add all 10 squares together, it equals 100%, then I can go, okay, well, 100, oops, let me write this over here. 100% divided by 10 different squares means that each square is worth 10%. So we have 10% here, here, and all these squares are each worth 10%. Okay. Once you figure out what each square is worth, then you can go, okay, well, how many squares are colored in? Well, we have 3 squares colored in. Each square is worth 10%, so we have 3 times 10%. So that means our total percent is gonna be 30. So our answer is 30%. So 3/10 equals 30%. Okay, so there is no one better than the other. It's whatever works for you, whatever makes you feel most comfortable. But there you have it. You can use a diagram to find the percent. You can remember that percent means out of 100. Multiply by that giant 1 to get the 100 in the denominator. And you know that the numerator will be what your percent equals. But remember, that only works if the denominator, the bottom number, can go into 100 evenly. And if you have a fraction like 9 over 60 and 60 doesn't go into 100 evenly, then remember that fraction bar also means division. So you just take your top dog divide it by the denominator, get your decimal, and remember, because percent is out of 100, you're multiplying by 100, and that will give you your percent. Or, in other words, you're moving that decimal over to the right 2 places. Okay, and as always, if you have any questions or need help, feel free to make an appointment with me during office hours. Hope you have a great day.